what are some things we could have at home that would be fairly easy to pull out, maybe do a couple of things with, add a few things, and still have something heart healthy, even if there's even in some cases a little processing with it. Let's start with, and I specifically put Tyson grilled chicken, just because this is one that I have used. Another product that I've used, and sometimes I feel a little guilty putting brands down here, but sometimes people just say, well, what do you use on that? Do you eat what you're saying? This is just a brand called Beacon Light. There are other brands. That's where I love you looking at the labels. Where these are just packages. This happened to be salmon. There's tilapia, there's tuna steaks, things like that. McCormick's, just like a little seasoning, McCormick's makes a lemon pepper that has, for 1/4 of a teaspoon, has 30 milligrams of sodium. If you can keep a meal under 500 milligrams of sodium, you've done very well. You can pop those frozen blueberries or peaches, whatever, into a cup of milk. I think I even have the bag of just it doesn't have to be a special kind. What was that? Just a Lowe's food brand on that. You put them on sale. It's going to make that milk, if you're trying to kind of make a little milk smoothie, it's going to make it real icy by putting the frozen fruit, in there. Fruit and yogurt and granola kind of parfait, those things sell like hotcakes. They're tasty, they're pretty. Well, you can do that at home. All that has is your of course, your low-fat vanilla yogurt. I've used, instead of using really granola, I wanted to use some type of cereal that's a whole grain. So I chose one of the Kashi cereals. In fact, it's one of the Kashi cereals that has cranberries and so forth, in it. Now, you notice the size of this cup is not a 10-ounce cup. We can make anything high calories, even when it's healthy with that. So you're talking of doing small, but that can be, and you can put any kind of fruit, that you like. The next recommendation has to do with choosing fat-free, 1% fat, or low-fat and low-fat dairy products. Again, the fat that is in milk is an animal fat. So whole milk is going to, usually for a cup of whole milk, just to give you an example, a cup of whole milk is going to have about 5 grams of saturated fat. Well, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for most of us women, the recommendation, and again, that's going to depend on our calorie needs, our caloric needs, so I'm just giving you an average recommendation. For most women, the recommendation is not to have much over 10 to 12 grams of saturated fat a day. That's not total fat, that's the saturated, fat. So if you're having a cup of whole milk and it has 5, and you have a slice of 1 ounce of regular cheese and it has about 4 or 5, you've kind of met that recommendation. Whereas if you have a cup of skim milk, you don't have any saturated fat in that. So when the recommendation is to say not have more than 12, and you've substituted something that cuts out 5, that's a positive direction. And I know if I've done talks like this before, I do tend to mention Cabot cheese, and I have just an example. And I wanted to show you the label on it because it's very clear where it says 75% reduced fat. Now this is the white cheddar, they have the yellow cheddar. That cheese is significantly 1.5 grams of saturated fat for 1 ounce compared to 5 grams for regular cheese. Anything that you would like melted margarine on or butter taste on, vegetables, rice, potatoes, anything like that, it works great with minimal, hardly any calories, that you're adding to it. I also have, in the little bowl, I have an example of broccoli slaw, and I probably have the package there, as well underneath the cereal and so forth. But if you've not, that's just something different, but it's got this nice crunch texture to it, and you just get a bag of it just like you would a bag of shredded lettuce or a bag of shredded cabbage. And I even put there the little mix that I'll do, the blending, the plain yogurt, the light mayonnaise, a little bit of cider vinegar, and of course a lot of recipes will say adding a little bit of sugar. I'll keep Splenda on hand and put a little bit of Splenda in there. And it's just, you're eating broccoli in a different way, but it just doesn't take a lot to mix that up. And then you have sort of a side dish that's a little bit different, but it's very flavorful. And then the last one that I have does involve, on the vegetables, does involve a little bit more preparation, but not a lot. If you like anything that's a corn salsa, because I take out the bag of frozen corn. I don't cook it, I don't thaw it. I put it in the bowl. I drain the black beans, and you can find canned black beans that are at least 50% reduced sodium. I'm not sure that I have found those in a no salt added, but it's 50% reduced. I drain those, put it in there, and you got a couple of more things, several more things you add. That says a package or a half of a package of zesty Italian dressing. So sometimes it's taking recipes you might use and just thinking of things that, do I really need to put the salt in that? You know, is there something that, you know, you can substitute? You hear about trying to increase your whole grains. They've done a lot of research in heart disease and specifically about the higher the incidence of getting the very center of that grain, getting that whole grain, how helpful that is in actually maybe preventing some heart disease. Not sure if it's just those rich vitamins or the fact that the center of the grain carries a lot of the antioxidants that I was talking about with fruits and vegetables. These are just some examples. And I have quite a few folks that like the sandwich thins. And I have the package of those. See there where it says 100% whole wheat. Whether it's bread, whether it's sandwich thins, you're looking for those words, either 100% whole grain or 100% whole wheat. Then there's brown rice. I have a little bowl there of, you know, now you can just eat brown rice, but I will sometimes add like dried cranberries, a little pecans, just something to make it a little bit different. That's quinoa. Nothing gets any easier than preparing that because you are basically mixing water and that together and microwaving it. Then if you're adding some things like, maybe you just quickly, with vegetable coating or, you know, saute some green peppers and onions or something like that and just add it to it. Keep in mind your whole wheat pasta. You can get that now so easily where it says, again, 100%, you're looking for it to say, not just whole wheat pasta. You're looking for it to say 100% whole wheat. You know, when you put the sauces on it, we talk about the sodium, that adding up. Now you can find the no salt added tomato sauce, no salt added tomatoes, no salt. You can add your seasonings, just like I have here, oregano, basil, parsley. You can end up with a tomato sauce that maybe has 150 to 200 milligrams per serving versus 900 to 1,000 milligrams, and it can work for you. I think we've touched a lot on, you know, the saturated fats, the sodium. Let me just mention one thing, trans fats, which are listed on the label. You'll see that now. Truly, if you can, try to go with products that say 0 trans fats. The concern is they not only raise your LDL, your bad cholesterol, they tend to lower that HDL that we've heard about today. So I hope that just kind of quickly, it's just giving you some just quick ideas that you can use and know that it doesn't have to involve a whole lot of time. You don't always have to start from scratch, although that works well too.